نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين ونعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون. Respectful my friends, in the verses recited to you, in these Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention with regards to the day of resurrection. And in it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the plight of those who do not believe as well as those who have iman. In the opening verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. They say, مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ, when will this promise come to pass? In kuntum sadiqeen, if you are truthful. ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون. ما ينظرون, they wait for only a single صيحة, meaning a scream, تأخذهم, to seize them, وهم يخصمون, while they are arguing. فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. They will then be unable to make any bequest, nor shall they be able to return to their families. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that the disbelievers, they keep asking Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. When will this promise, wa'd, promise meaning the punishment, come if you are truthful? And them asking this to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala wasallam would be out of jest and mocking, and not that it was out of research or that they were really serious, that they wanted to know that we should know how much time we have and that we need to seek the truth before the actual punishment occurs. So they had no genuine reason to ask or genuine purpose in asking, but it was merely out of jest. That in kuntum sadiqeen, that if you are truthful. And the reason why Allah Ta'ala mentions this is that Allah Ta'ala is trying to mock back at them, that this question itself is futile. And the reason why it is futile is that even if they were serious in their asking when the day of punishment or the day of Qiyamah is going to be, it is something which besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody else knows of it. Allah ta'ala has not disclosed it to any of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam either. So even if they were genuine, it is a futile question because this hasn't been disclosed. And it would also be foolish for it to be disclosed as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to disclose it, and there would be no test left at all. That's the way our death as well. We know it's going to occur, but when, Allah Ta'ala hasn't disclosed that. Otherwise, if we were to know when our death is going to be, then there would be no test at all. Although there will still be those who, even then, would still remain on falsehood, would still remain on vice. And even those who would know when the day of punishment is or the day of Qiyamah is, they may not make any changes in their life. But for many, yes, they would maybe change or leave it right till the end. So it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not disclosed to anyone at all, and this is a deliberate thing that Allah ta'ala has not disclosed it. And Allah ta'ala says that it seems that they are actually waiting for it. And مَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً, that they await only a single scream indicating that when the day of Qiyamah comes, or whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does punish any nation, and many such ayat we have done as well, that all it has been is a scream that has come from the angel, and that has been sufficient to ta'khuduhum, to seize them. And that too in a state wherein وَهُمْ يَخِصِّمُونَ, in a state wherein they were arguing. Meaning that it seems that they just arguing with one another. To that extent, they'll also be arguing that should we bring Iman or not, should we bring Iman or not? And Qiyamah will already come by then. Meaning that they'll just continue arguing, continue to argue, until the time comes when the actual Qiyamah will come. And then Allah Ta'ala says, فَلَا يَسْتَدِينَ تَوْصِيَةٌ وَلَا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, that when the punishment of Allah Ta'ala or the day of Qiyamah does come, that they will not be able to make any bequest, or nor shall they be able to return to their families. Meaning that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does bring the day of Qiyamah, or whether it is general any punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people won't have any forewarnings, and neither will a person have a chance to rectify or do anything whatsoever. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam mentioned in the hadith, that there will be a person who, whilst eating, he will pick a morsel, and before he'll have it in his hand, and before he can put it to his mouth, the siren or the trumpet will be blown. And already in that state, the day of Qiyamah will come, that he won't even get a chance to, Lord, let me finish this morsel now. That's it, he won't even get that opportunity at all. And the state of affairs will be such that he won't get a chance to say, let me quickly just get this last morsel down also. That's it, the state of the fear will be such that the person won't be able to do anything beyond that. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam says there will be a person who will be buying some garment, and before the garment has even been torn to pack, the day of Qiyamah will come. So in this way people will be what? Going about their normal affairs. Another riwayat is mentioned as well, as how Allah Ta'ala mentions next, وَنُفِقَ فِي الصُّورِ, the trumpet will be blown. فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَنْسِلُونَ, and they will rush to their Rabb from their graves. So فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ تَوْصِيَةً وَلَا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. When the angel will be told to blow the trumpet, this is for the commencing of the day of Qiyamah, everyone will lower their heads in a way that they will be listening to it. So it won't be that people will just carry on what they're doing. People will stop to listen to it. And whilst hearing it, they will understand that, look, this is something different. This isn't anything normal. And then when that situation will occur upon them, that's when Allah Ta'ala says that فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ تَوْصِيَةً, that they won't be able to make any bequest at that time. They'll lock the doors, lock the properties, or any other form of bequest, monetary, material bequest. None of that whatsoever. And neither will they even get a chance to say goodbye to their family members. وَلَا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. They won't get a chance to quickly get home before Qiyamah happens. As it is, and in that state, however everybody will be, that's how the trumpet will be blown, and the day of Qiyamah will commence. وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ. And this now refers towards the second blowing. And the second blowing is now, which will signal the day of resurrection. So there are two blowings, although there is one narration, but the narration is weak. And one opinion of there going to be three blowings of the trumpet. One is that the trumpet will be blown as a warning. And after that blowing of the trumpet, that's when now the fire will emit on earth. And that will then gather the people. And that's when the second trumpet will be blown, which will then be the day of Qiyamah. And the third will be the day of resurrection. But the sound opinion is that there will be just two blowings of the trumpet. One is for the commencement of the day of Qiyamah, where everything will be then destroyed and all life will be destroyed. And the other is the second one, which is that when the trumpet will be blown, that's when all the souls will be blown back and mankind will be brought back into existence, which refers to the day of resurrection. So one is the day of Qiyamah, the commencing of the day of Qiyamah, and the other day is the day of resurrection. So وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ. And the angel who will be waiting for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's Israfil alayhi salam, as mentioned in the hadith, is already every single moment already in position, just waiting for when his task is nothing else. He's just waiting. He's got the trumpet there in hand, just waiting when the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is given and the trumpet will be blown. Now, وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ. Allah Ta'ala is now still describing the plight of those who do not have Iman. That وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ. That when the trumpet will be blown for the day of resurrection, the disbelievers will come out of their graves. فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَنْسِلُونَ. يَنْسِلُونَ means to rush and to run. That when the trumpet will be blown, they will rush to their Rabb. From where? مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ. Ajdath means from their graves. From their graves they will rush out. And the reason why they will rush out is, and they will say, قَالُوا يَا وَيْلَنَا مَنْ بَعَثَنَا مِنْ مَرْقَدِنَا. They will say, woe to us, who has brought us out of our graves? هَذَا مَا وَعَدَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَصَدَقَ الْمُرْسَلُونَ. This is what? So they will say, alas, to our destruction, who has raised us from the graves? هَذَا مَا وَعَدَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَصَدَقَ الْمُرْسَلُونَ. This is what Ar-Rahman has promised and the messengers have spoken the truth. So when they will come out from the graves, they will rush towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As is mentioned in other ayats as well. Another ayat is mentioned that they will be فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنْظُرُونَ. In this verse is mentioned that they will come out of their graves and they will pause. They will just wait. And here it is mentioned that they will rush out of their graves. There is no contradiction here, that when they come out of their graves, they will be in a startled state. So at that time, they will be just stood there waiting. And then the angels will gather them and, as you say, shoo them, to move them. And that's when they will be now rushed and they will then run towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they will have no other option but to hurry in such a manner and to scurry in such a manner towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they will be resurrected this way, they will say, O destruction upon us, who has raised us from our graves? It means that they will not want to come out of their graves. Why they won't want to come out of their graves? Not that they were having a better time in the graves, and now they're going to have a bad time. They were already having a bad time. But in comparison to the azab of the hereafter, the azab in the grave was a lot lighter. And they are aware of that as well. So because they are aware that where we are in much more comfort compared to what's actually going to come ahead of us, that's why they say that you should just leave us and left us there in our graves. That we are better off in that state, in that position, or in that place, rather than when we are, where we are going to. And in the hadith, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam describes as well, that on the day of Qiyamah there will be 3 types of resurrecting. One is those who will be resurrected from their graves in the state that they will be raghibun or rahibun. Their condition will be that they will be anxious, they will be raghib, they will be keen in being resurrected because of the promise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them with regards to Jannah. But they'll be rahib as well, but they'll be fearful as well. So they'll have fear as well, and this is how a true believer should be as well. But they will be also anxious as well, knowing that look, this is the day where we like is for instance a person who has studied well, and now is the days of the result comes. And when the results comes, there will be those who are going to be what? They're going to be in one state, they're going to be happy as well that they have the look. Or maybe the tutor also has given them some glad tidings that look, it seems you've done good. But at the same time, they don't look, anything could happen as well. So there will be those who will be in the state, there will be raghib and rahib as well. So there will be hopeful as well, and there will be fearful as well. And the second group, and for them they will have comfortable conveyances by which they will gather to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second group are those who Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, that there will be 2 on a camel, there will be 3 on a camel, and there will be up to 10 on a camel. These are also from the believers as well, but they may not be from the higher. One is that person who is in a luxurious limousine, chauffeured limousine. And the other is that you are not jam-packed in a rickshaw, jam-packed in a bus or something. Now, okay, you'll still get to where you are, but not in so much comfort as that who is in a limousine. And then the third Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, and this is that of the disbelievers, that their condition will be that they will be resurrected and gathered. And when they will be gathered, then there will be a fire around them that will engulf them. And that will be around them, so that will gather them. And that fire will remain with them. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that wherever they will do qayrula, they will rest during the day, do siesta, the fire will be with them. Wherever they will be in the night sleeping, the fire will be with them, and in the morning as well, the fire will be around them. So they will be gathered, but that gathering will be the way we will say to people, come forward, or so. And it is just people who might tell people, come forward, but he'll with the fire. The fire will close into them, and that is what will gather those who don't have iman. The fire is what will gather them to collectively together. This is how their resurrection will be. And that's when they will say as well, Ya waylana man ba'athana min qadina. Hadha ma wa'ada ar-Rahman wa sadaqa al-mursalun. This part of the verse, this is the believers will say this, or the angels, or both will say that when the disbelievers will say that who has raised us from our graves, then the believers will say and the angels will say that this is what Ar-Rahman has promised, and the messengers spoke the truth. Now this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised. And that is what Allah Ta'ala is saying, that they keep on asking with regards to يَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Whereas they don't realize that look, these are what you're going to, the circumstances and conditions that you're going to face with. So you rather bring iman before that, rather than inquiring and be arguing with regards to whether the day of Qiyamah will occur or not. إِن كَانَتْ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً. Allah Ta'ala says it will be only a single scream. فَإِذَا هُمْ جَمِيعٌ لَدَيْنَا مُحْضَرُونَ. And on the single scream itself, Allah Ta'ala says it will all instantly appear before us. So that's all it will take. And In the hadith, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam mentions as well that every person will be destroyed in the graves. They'll be decomposed in the graves. That's a small bone, right? The last bone of a person's, of his vertebrae, that will be left. And just upon that itself, everybody will be resurrected. And they'll be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah in a state wherein there'll be hufatan, uratan, ghurullan, where each one will be without any clothing on, they'll be naked, they'll be barefoot, and they will be uncircumcised as well. They will be in this state. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that the first person to be given clothing on the day of Qiyamah will be Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Whether this means after Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or whether it means before Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is nothing conclusive in that. And even if it is after Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it doesn't mean that the status of Sayyidina Ibrahim is more than Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is from those certain virtues that Allah Ta'ala has given certain Anbiya over others. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that when the blowing of the trumpet will take place and everybody will come out from their slumber, Nabi Sallam says that I'll see Musa alayhi salam, and Musa alayhi salam will be standing by the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, I do not know whether he'll be the first one to be resurrected, or is it that he will not be put to sleep at all? That he will be awake throughout, or is the case of that he will be the first to be resurrected? So these are some of the virtues that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the Anbiya alayhi salatu salam. And the Muhaddithin mentioned the reason for this facility. That said, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, وَخَرَّ Musa سَيْقًا, on the basis that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam fell unconscious when he saw the fire, the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In reward for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep him conscious when everybody else will be unconscious. And Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was thrown into the fire, at that time, his clothing was taken off him. So on reward for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam will be the first one to be given clothing. When Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that this is how mankind will be resurrected, that they'll have no clothing on, Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha asked Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, oh Nabi of Allah, then does that mean that man and woman will look at one another, they'll start looking at one another? Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions al-amru wa hamma min dhalika, that the matter will be much more severe than that. It will be so severe that nobody will bother looking at any person at all. The thought won't even come that look, if people have no clothing on, we should be looking or not. That thought won't even enter the minds of a person. That is how horrific that day and how frightful that day will be. In antum illa sayhatun wahida. And Allah Ta'ala says that it will be, all it is, that it will only be a single scream, or a sayha itself, the blowing on the trumpet. And on that, each and every instantly, everyone will appear before us. So it won't be a case of that now we're going to start, okay, all those from the United States, those with the green card, or those from Western or this country or that country, will be resurrected. Those of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu time, and then further on Nuh alayhi salatu time, and this person's time, and that time, or this era, this century, that century. It will take forever then. So it will be a case of instantly everybody will be resurrected. Now, modern technology, in the past maybe people had, would doubt that how could this be possible and these type of things, but modern technology shows us, people would question, how could Sayyidina Jibreel come from the heavens and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam be given a message from the heavens and that? Now there's nothing unique in that whatsoever, isn't it? Modern technology shows you have the satellites and the person dials the call internationally, and instantly it is passed on. Messages are passed on. So just the way we have what? You can have your one email can be sent to so many people. One message, your own group broadcast or so can be sent to so many people instantly, isn't it? And when they receive it, they'll receive it instantly. When we send any message out, like now we send a message out, Tafseer started, listen live or so. And if a message sent out now, all those instantly each one will receive it at the same time. So in the same way here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the trumpet will be blown, the signal will be given, and instantly every soul will be resurrected at the same time. And then Allah Ta'ala says, فَالْيَوْمَ لَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. That on this day, that as fearful as it will be, but لَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا, no soul shall be wronged in the least. وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ, and you will be repaid for what? إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, only for what you did. So it will be day on the day of Qiyamah wherein nobody will be wronged. لَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا. Nobody will be wronged at all, so nobody on the day of Qiyamah can complain or fear that some form of injustice is going to happen with them. There will be no injustice with anybody whatsoever. And at the same time, mankind will be repaid only for what they have done. It means the same with regards to punishment. I mean, no one will be punished for something that they did not do. وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Here in this world, even where we expect justice as well, a person can be found guilty. The jurors will regard, but they're not guilty. They can be charged. They can be charged for something that they have not done. It might just be a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they charge for something that they have not done. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. That's not going to happen on a day of Qiyamah. Now that person who was near the scene of a murder, the scene of a theft, or that person who walked past a brothel, they won't be on the day of resurrected be put on to them that no, this person went into the brothel. This person was part of that heist or part of that theft or part of that murder. وَلَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Only that which you had done is what you will be punished for. So this is something which, this is how justice is, that everything will be just and nobody will be able to complain. So whatever is stamped on them is just what they had done. So we can't blame anybody else but ourselves. That if we are going to be punished, it is solely for the wrongdoings that we have done and not that of anybody else. Here now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that of the plight of those who do not believe. And it will continue, Allah Ta'ala mentions more with regards to them. But in between then, as Allah Ta'ala does in the Qur'an, where Allah Ta'ala mentions with regards to Jannat, Allah Ta'ala mentions Jahannam, Allah Ta'ala mentions those who have Iman, Allah Ta'ala mentions those who do not have Iman, or those who have Iman, do not have Iman, Allah Ta'ala mentions those who have Iman. So this will be the plight of those who do not have Iman. Whereas those who have Iman, inna ashab al-jannati al-yawma fi shughrin faqihun. Now here Allah Ta'ala is fast forwarding a bit. That after the reckoning and that takes place. And now when people are sent into Jannat, Allah Ta'ala says, inna ashab al-jannati, that the people of on that day, fi shughrin faqihun, the people of Jannah will really enjoy themselves. So they will be enjoying themselves fi shughrin, in what they will be doing on this day. So Ashab al-Jannah, they will be in faqihun, that they will be in enjoyment on that. So this refers to after they will be in Jannat, and when they will be given the tidings of Jannah, their condition will be such So the condition of the believers is that fi shughulin faqihun. Meaning what? That they will be so occupied in their Jannat and that which lies ahead of them, they won't even be worried at all or concerned with regards to the plight of those in Jannah. This is what fi shughulin faqihun means. One tafsir of fi shughulin faqihun. That those who on the other side, who Allah mentioned, they're going to have a difficult, miserable time. So whilst they're in misery, Again, this for a person who is enjoying themselves, but you're still looking at those who are in a poorer state than you, in a worse off state than you. So that will also sort of affect your enjoyment, if you have some sense, of course, and feelings. And if you are happy and somebody is not happy, you'll feel for their sadness. Somebody is sad, you'll feel for their sadness. And because of that, maybe your happiness and your joy may not be 100% because of the sadness of that person. So on the day of Qiyamah, if this was to occur, that later on, that the people who are destined for Jannah, they go to Jannah, and then they're going to be worried about friends, relatives, neighbors, families, whoever else in the fire of Jannah, and those in the fire of Jannah, then the enjoyment of Jannah will not be 100%. Whereas Allah Ta'ala has created Jannah wherein the enjoyment there is 100%. Jahannam, the misery is 100%. Level 100%. Here 100%. And dunya is one which is 50-50. If this place was one where you're going to have people who are going to have 100% pleasure and enjoyment, then what enjoyment is there in Jannah? So Allah Ta'ala has made this world such that there will be enjoyment, happiness, and on the other side there will be all misery and there will be sadness as well. This is both combination. So now if for the believers on the day of Qiyamah, when they're in Jannah, on the day of resurrection, if they were to then be thinking about the plight of those who are in Jahannam, it will reduce their enjoyment of Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions their condition will be fi shughulin faqihun. They won't even be worried and concerned about what's now happening to the people of Jahannam. And another tafsir is that fi shughulin faqihun. The question may arise that when we enter Jannah, and I'm saying this with great hope inshallah, that when we enter Jannah, then when a believer is going to be in Jannah, there's going to be no work to do, isn't it? You're not going to be waking up like now. A person has something to be doing, isn't it? You get up, you go to work, and then you've got farz salat to do, isn't it? So you have to break off and you have to read your salat, you sit, you take out time to read the Qur'an, and you visit family, you do so many things throughout the day. And if a person is off work for a while, then what happens? They're going to get bored, isn't it? There's nothing to do. Now just imagine you go in Jannah, there's no work to do. And there's no fajr to wake up as well. There's no namaz to do as well. So there's no going to the masjid and none of this to do. So will a person not get bored in Jannah? It's all, the question may ask, if there's nothing, then will a person get bored? Allah Ta'ala says no, they won't. Because they, fi shughulin faqihun. In the state that they are in, they will be so much enjoyment in the bounties of Jannah. So they will be so engrossed in this, the bounties of Jannah itself, that they will not get bored whatsoever. Because even that person who is on holiday or goes for a holiday as well, off work for a while, eventually they get a bit bored and they get tired, they want to do something. But that's not what's going to happen in when a person goes to Jannah. That they wish that if only we could go back to this world and have one day of going back to work or something like that. No, none of that whatsoever. Fi shughulin faqihun. But this is for those who did some work here in this world, isn't it? And what work? Not that 8 till 9, 9 till 5 work we're talking about here. What work we're talking about? We're talking about waking up for Fajr. We're talking about reading Zuhr Salah, Asr Salah, Maghrib Salah, Isha Salah, fasting in the month of Ramadan, carrying out the Hajj if it was farz, Zakat if it was farz, and all the other goodness that a believer is supposed to be doing, all the hukuk that a person needs to be carrying out, all of these things, this is the work that a believer needs to do, so that they can retire putting their feet up. Fi shughulin faqihun. Although there is mention that there will even be those who will desire to do ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they will be given that allowance, okay, do the ibadat of Allah ta'ala. But there will be nothing incumbent upon a person to do. And hum wa azwajuhum fi zilalin ala al-ara'iki muttaqi'un. And their condition is that they, wa azwajuhum, together with their spouses, fi zilalin ala al-ara'iki muttaqi'un, will be resting upon what? In fi zilal, in shade, on couches. They'll be resting on couches in the shade. Meaning that rather than in the sweltering sun, And this will be close to the people above their heads. So this can also be before they enter into Jannah. That already before then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put them under such shelter. So whom was one fi zilan al-araik muttaqiyun, that they'll be resting on couches. Because from the hadith it is also found that a lot of these bounties will be given to people that already be in this state before even entering into Jannah. As we have heard many times in the hadith as well, that when the sun will be just above people's head and people will be perspirating according to their conditions, some children, their feet, the knees, the stomach, drowning in the perspiration. There'll be sab'atun fi zilli arshir rahman. There'll be those who will be yawma la zilla illa zilla arshir rahman. There'll be those who will be 7 categories of people who will be under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. Now we don't have time to go through those. But from them, one is shabun nasha fi ibadatillah. One is that youth who was nourished and grew up in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These 7 categories, they will be the VIPs, the executives on the day of Qiyamah. Just the way you have the executive box, the VIP lounge and box in that, this is, on the day of Qiyamah, this will be the executive box. Where under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they'll be cooling off there. People will be sweltering under the sun. And these 7 individuals, or 7 categories of people you will say, will be under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be chilling there nicely. So from them, one is that youth who didn't waste his youth in all the things that the youth nowadays does do. But in what? In the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, instead of chilling out and doing all the things that a young person can do or wants to do, along with being able to do that, having the desire to do that, what they would have done is they have spent their time in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they'll be from those who will be chilling, you can say, under the shade of the arsh of Allah ta'ala, whum wazwadun fi ziladin. So they together with their spouses. It shows here as well that they are fortunate as well, those who are married to somebody who's righteous and pious. So their barakat as well, they'll be together in this state as well on the day of Qiyamah. لَهُمْ فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَلَهُمْ مَا يَدَّعُونَ. There they'll have fruits. Fakih means fruits. وَلَهُمْ مَا يَدَّعُونَ. And whatever they request. So in Jannat for the believer will be what? فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ. They will have fruits. And the fruits are not the fruits of this world. The fruits of this world are so luxurious. They're so delicious. We cannot imagine the fruits of the hereafter. It's just unimaginable, the fruits that will be there. And وَلَهُمْ مَا يَدَّعُونَ. Look at the words of the Qur'an. Allah Ta'ala says, for them is whatever they request. يَدَّعُونَ, request is the wrong translation in actual fact. مَا يَدَّعُونَ means from da'wat. Da'wat means to invite, to call somebody, to give a call. Which means, and Allah Ta'ala didn't say, مَا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. That for them is what they ask for. The words could have been in Arabic, that for them will be whatever they ask for. But that isn't the case. يَدَّعُونَ, whatever they desire. There's a difference here. Because even if you get what you ask for, you still might feel a bit embarrassed or a bit difficult to ask as well, isn't it? Even if somebody just ask whatever you want, you'll get whatever you want. Person will ask once or twice, and it's a bit difficult, how can I keep on asking? There is still that element that you have to ask for something. And that is also an element of difficulty. In Jannah, there will be no difficulty at all. So the Jannatis won't be even put under that difficulty of having to ask for something. It is just a case of ma yadda'un, whatever they desire, and that will be brought forth to them. This is how Jannat is. And this is the eloquence of the Qur'an. This is the eloquence of the Qur'an. لَهُمْ فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَلَهُمْ مَا يَدَّعُونَ. Allah Ta'ala mentions. سَلَامٌ قَوْلًا بِرَبِّ الرَّحِيمِ. And they will receive the greeting of peace. And this will be Salamun alaykum tibtum bima kuntum. This will be what? The greeting of Jannat as well. Thus we have the greeting here of Salam. We give Salam to one another. What is Salam? This is what Salam is. That they will receive the greeting of peace. قَوْلًا بِرَبِّ الرَّحِيمِ. From the most merciful Rabb. Means that He is pleased, to show that He is pleased, because Here we can say to somebody, when we greet, we say what, Assalamu alaikum. Means what? Look, we give you safety in that. That's why in the days of Jahiliyyah as well, in early days of Islam as well, if a person wanted to cause harm to somebody, they would not do salam to them. So people would gauge from this that, look, this person hasn't greeted me, done salam to me, that means I'm not secure. And people had this consciousness as well, that if I'm going to loot somebody, I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to steal him and I'm going to mug him, then how can I say to him, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and be ready, I'm going to slaughter you. That's not bringing peace upon him. So they wouldn't do salam. And that would be an indication that, look, there's harm here. And where a stranger, because any stranger, you see a stranger, immediately you can be apprehensive. Look, is this stranger going to be good or bad? You do not know, isn't it? You're traveling with somebody and somebody jumps in with you. Who is this person? Somebody riding next to you. Who is this type of person? Good or bad? What's their intention? They're following me. What they're following me for? They're just riding with me. So they'll do salam. So look, I do not need to worry about them. And if they don't, then that look, there's danger here. So on a day of Qiyamah as well for the Jannatis, the salam, so that everybody knows that now they have nothing to worry about. وَامْتَازُ الْيَوْمَ أَيُّهَا الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say on the day of Qiyamah, we will just leave it to here as well. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Salam bhai. We leave it to this. As time is short as well. So Wamtazul Yawma Ayyuhal Mujrimun, Allah continues with regards to again the resurrection and the plight of those who do not believe. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives some mention in various parts of the Quran. We'll do as well as we go on, and we've done in the past various other description of Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from those who are the Ashabul Jannah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.